Hello and welcome to Salad Green Boy Wellbeing with your host tonight, me, Nigel Mayo. Now, today we'll be going through my notes for the past week of the challenge I'm undertaking right now, going from a not necessarily so respectful £250 to being marathon ready to the point where I'll be fit enough to join the Boston Marathon. Now, this is going to be a long, arduous process, but I want to document all of this so that you guys know what it really does take for someone who is going in, who's not necessarily the epitome of health, and so you can go through the journey on the way. And even if it isn't necessarily for information, at the very least, I hope I inspire a few people. Now, before I get on with this, I do have to preface this with I would strongly advise before you go on any kind of lifestyle change like this, where it is a significant change, to consult a doctor, clinician, health experts, preferably someone who knows you through and through in all of your medical needs, so that you go through this in a safe and paced way. Okay, so without further ado, I will be going through the actual weighing. I'll be able to give that information a little bit later on, but I don't want to just simply give that information without any context. The point of this stream is so that we can go through a load of things that I found that went well, and a few things that went maybe less well, but things that I've definitely learnt from along the way, so that it's nice and safe. I'm not pushing myself too much, although at the same time do want to push myself, but things that yes, I'm going through, but maybe you might find the same kind of things, and maybe this is a way of trying to cut those things out earlier on. Okay, so got my notes just in front of me, and I'm just going to go through them now. So I do need to say that most of the stuff that I'm using, like my footwear, the things that I'm wearing, like tracksuits and all that kind of stuff, I'm not really spending any money on it, because it's stuff that I'm already using. If you do feel that you need to get various things, I wouldn't really be spending much. Most of these things are low cost, so you want a good, in the summer, you want a wickable top. Wickable is a thing where in warm weather your heat doesn't really have anywhere to go, so there's going to be a lot of stress, stress probably, but there's going to be a lot of sweat that needs to come away from the body, because it's going to get real uncomfortable really fast. So a wickable top transfers that sweat to the outside. It's breathable, that you would use in the winter, that gets your hot condensation and all that into the cold air. So it's really good to know the difference there. But the thing is as well, as far as the mental health aspects of this go, there will most likely, if not, then you're a very lucky person, but there's going to most likely be judgment from people, not necessarily just like they'll give up like in a few weeks or a few days or whatever they think of you. It's easier said than done, but honestly, if you just focus on the actual walking, jogging, when I say jogging, I do mean at a slow pace, as opposed to try and get it as fast as you possibly can, because all you're going to do is burn out. Take your breaks and just focus on the actual regime you're doing, as opposed to anyone who might say anything about you. But some things you might think, I don't know, say you get like an armband or a new pair of shoes or a new backpack or anything, because one of the things that I'm going to start doing in the future, take like a bag, what we call a platypus of water inside the bag, so that you got a tube, so you're just not holding anything. Anything you can do to free up your arms and your legs to just go for it is the best way to go. So if there's any comments from people where you shouldn't be spending all this money to do this kind of stuff, or you got to take it easy, look, you know what's best for you. That's also why I say go see a doctor before you even start any of this, because who knows, there could be some kind of like muscles or anything you might tear without you even knowing about it. So it's always best to get that checked out. And as far as any naysayers, this is your body, and my advice is to always have the end goal in mind, so you've always got that inspiration to be able to do it. But also, it's kind of like when people have negative things brought towards them when they're doing a job. Just focus on the job at hand and you won't go far. It's no one's business on what kind of equipment you get or what you're doing as far as what you need to do for this run, jog, or whatever you're doing. It's your journey only, and no one can control that than you. So any naysayers, please get that out your head right now. This is for you, your health. Like for example, myself, I'm doing this so I can have a longer life, be there longer for my wife, hopefully be there longer for if and when we have children, etc. So there's going to be all sorts of reasons, but keep your own reasons in mind. Don't matter about any judgment from other people or anything like that. This is just for you. So I just needed to get that out the way, for the very simple reason, especially after the first couple of weeks, because the first couple of weeks, as I'm going to get through here, are going to be the hardest. Not necessarily just physically, it's also going to be mentally, because there will be times, like I'm also going to get through, where if like you might wait another hour or two in the morning before you start doing your exercise, and then the longer and longer you wait for it during the day, then it's going to be less and less likely that you're going to still have that motivation and the momentum to get out of bed, get your stuff on and get out. Okay, so any other thing, look, any kind of equipment or anything, any kind of time that you're putting into this, any kind of dietary change or anything like that, the best thing to think about this, that it's a long time investment. Actually, sorry, I take that back. It's a lifetime investment on your health. Sometimes the best way I can put it is, nothing worth having ever comes easy. So in cases like this, and even in the way that you'll want to do this, just buckle down and get on with it. Simples. So yeah, plus also getting to the prices of things. Most of the things you can get, simple stuff like gym equipment and mats and various other, you can get things from places like in England, you might be able to get it from Poundland, possibly. In the US, there are places like Five Below, not necessarily the Dollar Tree, but Five Below I would suggest is a good place to get gym equipment and clothes and things, because I actually just realized I do those things. Right, so let's get on with it. So first week, at the end of the first week, starting the second week, honestly, there wasn't any pain. Most of the exercise I was doing was walking on the property that I'm living in right now. It's quite a large property for compared to like where we used to live in the UK. So there's like it's a whole circle, right? And there's like, it starts from here, slopes down, goes round, and then slopes up and back into a loop again. So it's not like I'm doing anything on flat ground. However, especially when I'm getting into the running parts of like slow jogs and stuff, I'm trying to time it with the Couch to 5K, which I'll get into in a moment, where I'm jogging down and I'm walking back up. If there's a case where I'm not timing it right, I kind of hover around the upper bit until the whistle goes off in my earphones, and then I can just slowly go around, go down a hill, and then kind of, jog a little bit more on the lower part where it's flat, and that way I'm not overdoing it, because as soon as I start going uphill when I'm actually running, jogging, whatever, then that's the part where it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So after covering this in the first week, there isn't really any issue anymore with me doing any walking at all. Walking is something that I've always enjoyed anyway, so it's nothing really new. But if you're only just starting to walk any kind of distance, even if it's like for 5-10 minutes or so, what I'd say is you're probably going to be feeling it in your lower back, and you are probably going to get out of breath, not necessarily as quickly as you think you would, but it's going to happen. So when you do, don't beat yourself up for it. However, in regards to the second week, I am actually so happy that in that first week I was only just walking, because what it's done, it's strengthened up the muscles in my lower back, and any like various muscles in my legs that might want to prepare me for the actual running. And you know what, it's eaten up into my belly fat just very slightly. I know it's only just been 1 week, and you know, it's really helped me get my metabolic rate up, and it's just helped me not get out of breath as like quickly as you would have thought it would. However, that being said, when I did start running that first time, dear Lord, it was absolute beep of a mother beep issue. Yeah. So what am I doing as far as running is actually concerned? So with Couch to 5k, what will happen is you'll do 5 minutes at the start and the end to warm up and warm down. You'll do, I think in the first week, which was last week just gone, you'll do 90 seconds of walking in between the running, and the running itself you do 60 seconds. Now to go from just walking all the time to suddenly I'm doing 7 sessions of not running, by the way, just a light steady pace of just light jogging, really felt the burn. I mean, by the end of the first session I was like, I need to get inside right now. When it came to the third session, I still kind of felt pain, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as the first day, and I actually felt like maybe I just need to do this first week again the next week, as in the start of this week, as in a few days ago. That said, wasn't anywhere near as bad, because for the second week what happens is, and by the way, all this is over a 30-minute exercise. On the second week it goes from a 2-minute walk in between the jogging intervals and a 90-second jog between the walking. And let me tell you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would, and there's a reason for this as well. So a couple of days ago, actually no, I think it was yesterday. Oh, by the way, hi Brian, gaming family, really great to see you. Hope you enjoy it, and you know, if you want to take me to task today, but no, not really. I'm just giving some information about what's happening the last couple of weeks as opposed to my experience, because really I wasn't a couch potato before this couple of weeks, but I don't think I was looking after myself anywhere near as much as I probably should have. Right, anyway, so where was I? So yeah, yesterday I didn't drop the ball, but there were reasons why I didn't do any exercise regime yesterday. It would have been a walking day anyway, and to be honest, at this point, after introducing the running, I don't really feel that I'm really getting too much out of the walking, other than keeping my heart rate up, which is a good thing anyway, getting my metabolic rate up and all that kind of stuff, but I just had too much to do, so I really didn't get the chance yesterday. Now all of that said, with the Couch to 5K thing that I've got going in my earphones, I heard the voice tell me, by the way, Denise Lewis is like a world-class athlete. She's actually won the Olympics, and she's the voice that's going on. So definitely wouldn't be telling me anything that's dangerous anyway. But what she said was take a day off in between runs. I wasn't. I was doing an hour's walk. But as far as the running is concerned, take a day off and then come back to it the next day. And to be quite honest with you, solid advice. Because I didn't do anything, and when I came back to do it today, the burn didn't feel, I mean, it wasn't too much as bad. It still felt bad, but it wasn't as bad as it was a couple of days ago, and that really surprised me because it's going to be longer than last week. I took a bit of rest and I really didn't feel that I was going to be up for it, but I was, and it kind of reinforces that thing. And I've gone over it myself as well. For all the research I've done, the most important thing about getting the exercise is the rest, because what's happening is with the exercise, essentially what's happening with your body is it's making tears into your muscle, and what you really do with exercising is you're not damaging, but you're basically taking your muscles apart. And what the rest does, especially if you have protein and various other that helps build it back up, you're mending those muscles, and as they mend, they regenerate and grow bigger so that you can take on more. So yeah, the rest is just as important, if probably not more important. Just make sure you get the exercise in. Anyway, I do digress. So today wasn't really that bad. I felt a little bit of burn in my lower back, and my legs they weren't killing me, but they were definitely irradiating, like nuclear radiating probably. But it wasn't that bad. I'm going to take in a couple of days when I do the next run, and I'm going to make a decision whether I move up to the third week of the the next stage up of the Couch to 5K, because I just don't want to. I want to make sure that I'm just not overdoing it. But as far as I can see, yeah, the way they did it, really top notch. I might just try the first day of the harder jog after this and then see what happens. If it's too much, then I'll put it down to the week that I'm just doing now, and then once I feel that it's reasonably okay, and I'm not going to hurt myself or anything, I'll go up for the next week. Now there's one thing which I do have to there's one improvement I made this week which I didn't the first, and I was actually really grateful for it. So what I don't have it on me right now. I'll bring it on to next week, or I'll actually showcase it in one of the daily shorts. But I had this like sweat belt which kind of doubles up as in a back brace. So I put it round, and what it does, it's like to sweat things out, so it kind of like gets that, you know, loose skin or whatever off your belly. But what it did was it brought my belly fat up, because there's overhang, and when you're this kind of weight you do have overhang that's putting pressure on your spine. It's making your back ache because there's so much pressure to hold that belly up that it's pulling you down. So when I put this I don't even know what to call it at this point. I think it's called a sweat belt. But when you put it on, it actually gives you that support. So when you're going round and jogging, walking, whatever, you don't get anywhere near as pain as it would if you hadn't. And this week, I really did know the difference with that. It allowed me to run not faster but for longer. It allowed me to do the whole thing without the fear of, oh my god, my back's gonna hurt, I'm going to, you know, fall into agony and all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, if possible, especially if you have long-term back problems, which I have long-term back pain anyway from like traveling in cars and, you know, cars with no suspension or anything like that. It really has taken it out me, right? So any kind of support that you can get if you do feel any like back problems, and again, see a doctor or at the very least a physiotherapist and say, look here, what's going on with it. But yeah, back brace really helps. And you know what, if you use it long enough, the overhang will go away, you'll lose the weight in your belly, and you know, soon enough you probably won't even use it because there's not as much weight that your lower back or your muscles or anything is trying to overcompensate for, and then you can just get on with it, right? Yeah. So anyway, I feel that I've reached my so right now I'm still feeling like I'm reaching my limit, but I'm not going over my limit, which is, to be honest, when I used to just get out and run, like 5 minutes later I was begging for mercy. I still kind of am to a point, but not anywhere near as much as I used to be when I did it in the good old days when I was however old I was. Not saying I'm too old now. Right, next note. So what am I eating? So I'm trying to get into this thing with intermittent fasting, kind of. When I say that, I'm not going a whole day with eating nothing. It's more of I'm not eating as late as I can in a day, and then not eating too late before I go to sleep. So between the time I can eat a good amount, but then there's a long time where I'm not, where the body has to go into kind of not hibernation mode, but it's definitely going to get all the stored fat out, especially when sleeping, and then it's having to work harder to draw on the fat because I'm not eating in a bigger time frame during the day. And let me tell you, it's actually really difficult to eat in a short amount of time. I mean, you might have a big breakfast, but then you might feel really you might not even feel hungry by the time where you're kind of limiting yourself when you're eating as early as you can before the end of the day. So it's actually really important to see what you're eating, right? So anyway, I have oatmeal because it has things like fiber and things, which by the way, the body isn't built to keep fiber. It's actually something that just goes through and pushes everything out that it needs to, right? So in fact, it's probably even cleaning your insides. So I have that for that reason. And there is protein in oatmeal, and later on I kind of have whatever about, but as long as it's like some carbs, some meat. So I might have some pasta with or like a wrap with cold cuts. Like when I say cold cuts in the UK, that would be like slice of ham kind of thing, right? So I have things like that, and during the night what would usually happen, you lose about 2 pounds from what I can gather. While I'm doing the intermittent fasting, it's losing a lot more. The only thing about this week, I felt hungrier, so I kind of gone off the wagon, not necessarily just because I was tired, because there's been other things in life which they happen, like I had a pizza half a large pizza after moving a sofa with my wife. Now that was back-breaking work. I mean, we were literally screaming trying to get it up the stairs, and we were freaking shaking after the event, and we just thought, bugger it, we're having some pizza, right? But that said, even after that, I didn't lose any weight that day. However, by the next morning I found that I never gained any weight either. I'd done a cheeky weigh-in just to make sure because I felt a bit guilty about it. And then there was a few days earlier where there's some information I'd given, went into like a really stressed out situation, where we went to a bar, had a couple of drinks and had a bit of food there, so that's kind of not screwed anything up, but it's kind of added to, oh my god, what have I done? But that said, hasn't really affected things as much as I thought. Let's see. Yeah, so that said, with food, I'm not eating any bread at the moment. I've had a couple of pizzas maybe, but I'm not eating any bread, other than wraps, which honestly, I'll level with you, I haven't really done the research as into if they're actually any better than having bread. I'll come back to you with that either in the shorts or for next week. But with wraps, I feel that because they're thinner, it's better. I might change that up to having lettuce wraps, which are infinitely less calories, but that's still something I need to do the research on. Now, that said, anything like eating less, all of the things that like pizza or whatever that I have had during the week, luckily it hasn't, as far as I can tell, hasn't affected the actual exercise. So I'm not feeling like my back's breaking me because I've just overloaded on like really fatty foods, chocolate, pizza, whatever. It's actually still going quite well, and I can feel that it's getting easier and easier and easier, the level that I am, so that the next week I feel I can still level up, so that's a good thing. We'll see next week, but there you go. So I'm about to give the information about weighing in another, say, minute or so, but there's just one or two other things which I want to tell you about it. Water weight is the big thing where you're going to lose a lot of weight when you change your regime right at the start. It's happened with me before. I've actually lost about 10 pounds of water weight. Probably, I mean, there's obviously other things that probably like to play with it, but I've lost 10 pounds before in the space of a week or two, just by drinking loads more water and cutting out things that has a load of salt in it. So there's that slowed down this week. Again, it's probably the things that I've been eating, the breaks that I've been taking and stuff, but it's not anywhere near as fast as it was. So let's see. And next week I'm doing the week 3. I might be going up. Oh yeah, so going forward, what I'm eventually going to be doing is I'll obviously be leveling up to the 9 to 10 week, where it's like 30 minutes straight running. But then once I'm comfortably doing that, I'm going to go 5k in the morning, 5k in the afternoon, if I feel comfortable with that. And the best piece of advice I give to you is do not rush it. Oh, by the way, Virginia, 10 pound, that's not my way now. I'm just saying that's what happened last time, and that was a good 10 years ago. The other thing is, and I don't know if it's something that a lot of people say in their YouTube videos, but you're going to what's the best way to put this? In the first, maybe even the first couple of days, it actually happened with me. It was like it was a big session of this in one day. You're going to be evacuating your system a hell of a lot. I wouldn't say diarrhea, but there'll be a point where, because what's happening with the exercise, it's getting your body going, it's getting your insides, your digestive tract, everything that is moving along with the exercise that you're doing. So you'll find that maybe within the first couple of days, it'll be everything comes out. It'll be like you're getting rid of things that you probably ate a year ago. That's me being a bit kind of yeah. But all the beers will come out. Niagara Falls, yeah, but brown. But yeah, don't worry about that too much. If it's going to be something that's going to be continuous, because I didn't have any stomach pain with it, it just came out because I was exercising and moving things. But if you are going to get like stomach cramps or anything like that, constipation and stuff, then that is a time like either go to a pharmacy or a doctor or something and say, look here, this is happening, am I okay? Because who knows, it might be a symptom of the problems, and I don't want to say this or scare anyone, but I know that when it happened for me, I wasn't really going through any kind of major health problems or anything, and I thought, oh, what's going on here? But then after that, I felt so much better, and it just like, I just felt so, I mean, I know it's the point because I've just like got rid of a load of stuff out of the system, but I just felt lighter, you know. Right. So yeah, so we're going from 5k to 10k to half marathon, but this is going to be over a year kind of time frame. So it's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it now, let's get on with it, let's do this. It's going to be over a long amount of time. So again, I just have to say the one thing, the best advice I can possibly give you with this is, do not any circumstances at all rush. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay, so I'm going to give you the results of what's happened this week now that I've given you a bit of context of what's actually gone on. So day one, it was £250 thereabouts. I think it was like 250.2 or 3 or something like that. At the end of week one, which is last Wednesday, it was 244. Now that's a considerable change in a week. Usually it's, you know, like a pound or two like a week that is safe to do. Now bear in mind that's water weight as well, so water holds a lot of weight in your body, more than you would think it would, you know. And hopefully there's been some kind of changes here, which is one of the first places that you would notice it. Please tell me in the comments if you remember seeing me last week or the week before, whether there is actually any changes here, because, you know, I'm just interested to know. So I went down to 244, so that's £6. The weight I am as of today, as of getting up first thing this morning before this live stream, etc. Drum roll please. Sorry, I don't have the sound effects and I'm rubbish at making my own effects. Okay, 3, 2, 1. £222 I am now. Over halfway to £200 from what I was. Now, to lose £2 in a week, bear in mind, it's not obviously anywhere near as much as £10. Now, again, water weight, but now what will happen is this is where you start and you go doosh, and then it'll do the kind of bell, level out, and I believe, say after, it's kind of coming up right now where it's going to be the hardest bit, because and this is where your mental health, your motivation really does need to come into play. So as much work as I'm going to be doing, I am looking at the fact that maybe I'm only going to lose £1 or £2. I'm hoping my motivation will stay up. I will be looking at the fact that, you know, don't go out. If I am going to be still doing this intermittent fasting, then look a lot better at what I'm actually eating. Oatmeal doesn't necessarily fill me up too much, so maybe have a bigger bowl of it, or just like change it up, or put in things like peanut butter or anything in that might fill me up a bit more. But again, don't overdo it to the point where, look, I'm exercising and stuff, but it's to the point where I'm still eating too much, right? So, okay, here's my plan between now and next Wednesday when I do the next live stream. So, hopefully my back, my legs and everything will be up to the point where, yes, I can get on with it. I can level up to, I think it might be like 2 minutes of running and maybe less walking, because the point of the walking between the running is to give yourself, your muscles and everything, a bit of recovery before you get onto the next bit of running. And then after that, who knows? But I'm only looking at the next week. I'm not looking too far ahead before I get on, because I'll get ahead of myself, right? But yeah, if you're watching this on a replay, or even put it now in live chat, what kind of information would you like within the next week? Just so I can make some notes, because what I'm doing here, I mean, the thing is, I want to make these videos for you, and I want to be able to give you the information and all of the benefits from what I'm experiencing, because I don't want it to just be for me. One of the reasons I made this YouTube channel is to share the love, share the things that I've experienced and all the things that I tried. Even if it doesn't work out for me, who knows, it might work out for you. So just put either in the live chat here, or if you're watching it on a replay, just put in the comments what would you like to know that I've experienced that you might want to look out for, that in any time that you want to start exercising and start your regimes. Now, again, with that said, as I said at the start of this video, and it's on stream now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physiotherapist or a health expert or anything like that. Before you start any kind of regime that's out of the ordinary, please consult a clinician, doctor, etc., because I don't want you to hurt yourself, and I don't want you to break any bones or anything like that. I want you to be as healthy as you can possibly be through this, because we're taking it slow, making sure that your mindset is this is a marathon, not a sprint. And it's great to have the motivation in the targets that you're setting yourself, but if you can't meet your targets because they're not achievable or anything like that, then what's the point, right? Look after yourself. By the way, for my mod, Virginia, and I can see thumbnail hacks in there as well. Thank you so much for coming along today. And yeah, nice music. This music, by the way, if anyone wants to download it themselves, it's free music. And if anyone's a content creator or anything, you can actually get it for free. There's no copyright issues. It's completely copyright free, and it is free. And you can get it from Creator Mix. That's made by I believe Nick Nimin, I think Dan Patel, and I think D Nimin. But creatormix.com, you might have to do some sign-in stuff, but all the music easily downloadable and it's free. So if you like what you hearing in the background here, that's where I'm getting it from. Just a shout out to that. Right, so with that said, I'm gonna get on with it, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday. I'll put the link up as soon as I can. Yep, thank you, Virginia. Creatormix.com is where I get some nice lo-fi, nice relaxing music to get yourself to sleep. You can make your own playlist with it and all that kind of good stuff. So this really is top-notch music, and it's music I actually think it's better quality than the stuff that you can get from YouTube itself. So yeah, thanks everyone. Look after yourselves, because it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark. Bye.